Good morning. Happy Pentecost Sunday to you. My name's Evan Smith, the pastor at Second Presbyterian Church here in downtown Stanton, and I'm coming to you today for your daily video devotional. Today is the day of Pentecost, the day in which the Holy Spirit came down upon those early disciples, and they went out and they were able to speak in other languages. And it's such an interesting and striking thing that on this Pentecost day, as we think about the breath that came upon the disciples. And we remember that in Greek, the language of the New Testament, and in Hebrew, the language of the Old Testament, in both those languages, the word for breath and wind and spirit are all the same word. And so there's this significance that there's this like cleansing breath, this fresh wind, this fresh spirit coming through. And it was the birthday of the church. And immediately the church began to do things. It preached Jesus, absolutely. But then you look at the ministry that was done, and they cared a lot about justice as well. They fed people, they healed people, they had all things in common. I am, like a lot of people, particularly moved and struck and dismayed by the killing of George Floyd. And maybe some of you are just like, and I'm done, clicking off. Either you're fatigued from it or this isn't what you want. But I can't help getting past the realization that he died crying out that he can't breathe. And the word for breathe and the word for spirit is the same in those original languages. And it's this idea that this man that by a lot of accounts actually was a godly man, and there's like links of, I can post a link if anyone's interested from Christianity Today about the ministry he had in his hometown. I'm just struck though by that. I think we've got a lot of work to do. I'm not the only one. And I, like probably all of you, is like, what can I really do? But if everybody, would actually just take some steps to be aware of their own biases, and we all have them, and to seek to combat those things, then maybe it'd be a start. And I know that there's somebody up here who's going to be like, but what about those protests and those riots and like, oh, they use violence? And yeah, I know. I wish that wasn't the way too. But we can't lose sight of what is a bigger thing because of some folks who may be doing things that we don't want to think they should do, or we don't think they should do. I know this isn't as coherent and everything, but this is just kind of where I'm at. I was thinking about this story. A lot of folks probably don't know this, but when I was in seminary, I was a bouncer at one of the eating clubs at the university campus, the Quad. And it was great money. And I was very proud of the fact that for the entire 3 years of doing it, I never hit anyone a single time. Like, I threatened it a lot, but I never actually had to. I was always able to use my words. But one night I was coming back from bouncing with another seminary student. His name was Eddie, and he was a black gentleman. And as we were coming back, we got pulled over. And the officer told Eddie that his taillight was out. And we found out later his taillight was not out. Eddie was just driving while black at 2 a.m. And I asked Eddie afterwards, Eddie, does this happen to you a lot? And just witnessing the way that he was absolutely harassed for completely no reason. And Eddie said, it happens all the time. And I thought about how every single time I've ever driven back from that club at that night, I never once got pulled over. Never once in all the 3 years. And that it happened to him all the time. And I became aware, like, my goodness, like, there is a privilege. There is a privilege to having this skin tone that there are things I just don't have to worry about. And I didn't want to face that then. In fact, at the time, here was my takeaway. Eddie was from Alabama, and I'm from North Carolina. So I asked him, like, where was it worse? And he said it was way worse in New Jersey, and that was my takeaway. Oh, the North is worse than the South. But that's not the right takeaway. I know that if you're still with me, thank you. I sincerely thank you. Myers Park Presbyterian Church is an enormous church in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they're doing this campaign starting today. It's this 21-day race equity challenge, and it's called Better When We're Back Together. And the idea is we're going to come back together at some point. So let's find ways to make ourselves better in the meantime. And I'm putting links in here. And if you're in our church, you've received an email from me about this already. But they have a wealth of resources of things that you can watch or listen to or read or think about and keep track of, and just mix that up just to expose you to different perspectives, to challenge you to think and to pray, because God created us all with these differing shades of color in different cultures. And we have to believe that's not an accident. God did this on purpose, right? He likes this. He values this. And God didn't do it to say, and this one group is the best. This one group should be the most privileged. Like, that's not how God works. And so it is the charge of all of us in this time especially. Please take this seriously. Care about diversity. See the image of God in your brothers and sisters of other races, and realize that things cannot keep going the way they are, and that there is no tribe, no loyalty that should be greater than the loyalty we have to God and God's justice and God's desire for racial justice. So don't let yourselves get distracted by things that you want to disapprove of, and instead take all of these things to God, have an open heart and an open mind. Because after all, it's Pentecost Sunday. It's the day when the Holy Spirit's doing something new and something different. So let's listen to what the Holy Spirit has to say. And that is your word for today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please click the like button, maybe even share it on your own page. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. And we will be streaming live here at 10:30 for our Pentecost worship. I hope you'll join us then too. Bye.